Hello, good day. My name is Topman Paul-Dike. So I want to talk about my SQL in this section in such a manner that even the one who is hearing about it for the first time will understand or have a good understanding of what it is and how it is used. What it is used for or how it is used. So in this video, I'm going to cover um, pretty everything you need to know as a beginner MySQL, everything, including subqueries, functions, how to write MySQL script. I'm going to be using the command line, okay, the Linux command line, Ubuntu, I'm using Ubuntu. Um, Please, if you're not subscribed to this channel yet, do well to click on subscribe, do well to like the video. Don't just like it in your mind and admire it, like it, click like, thumbs up, and then share with people who would like to learn as well. Alright, let's make progress. And if you have any question, please do it to ask the question as a comment. And even if you're watching live, I may not have the time to take live questions, but just ask it as a comment, post it as a comment. I'll get back to you, or you can reach out to me or via WhatsApp. Check the about on this channel. You will see my WhatsApp um, details, my contact details actually. You can contact me directly. You can join us on Discord, where we hold these live sections and be part of the live learning section. Okay, let's begin from the word data. Before you talk about MySQL, before we start talking about MySQL, let's talk about data, because MySQL is a database. So what is data? I like to define data as anything or object. Let's say slash value. Yeah, that can be represented as text. It can be let's say in the form of text. This is pair learning, right? So I'm still learning. If there's something wrong with this definition, I don't mind being corrected. Reach out to me, right? I stand to be corrected. But this is the way I like to define data, because at the end of the day, data is something we are putting down on some document as a test, or as of course first as a test, and before we start having other kind of representations like graphical representations and pictorial representations and all of that. Okay, all right, let's make progress. And next thing I want to talk about is database. My mouse is being funny right now. Database, what is a database? Okay, so a database, say base, we're now talking about let me go straight to the point. Systematic, that means logical, that means organized, right? So an organized collection of data where it's not haphazard, well arranged. When you put some data in well arranged formats, presentable formats, where there is clarity and readability, it becomes a database. Of course, it's usually for the purpose of saving it, saving it, okay, for future use. Okay, I mean, this is something that most of us practice. You can have an organization where you make financial contributions, and you're putting down the names of the persons that contributed, the dates they contributed, the amount of money they contributed. That's a database, right? That's that's a okay. That's a data. That's a data. So you now documenting it, putting it inside a file so that you can refer to it years later. It becomes a database. Some of even secondary schools board, like you can go back to your, let's say, university school, to find out what your score was, what your performance was. In fact, even print your transcript. Those stuffs are kept in a database, right? But right now we're talking about um, we're not talking about hard copies right now. Okay. So DBMS stands for database. What's happening? Okay. Database management system. All right. The DBMS is now a kind of system. I like to refer to it as a style, a way of managing this database, so that you can access it, you can save it, you can alter some things in it. You can get the particular information you want. I mean, if you have millions or thousands of information in it, you can go for only 100 or fewer informations based on what you're looking for. Okay, so it's a way to manage data, a database, right? And we have several types of them. There is a hierarchical type, there's a network uh, DBMS, there is the object oriented uh, DBMS. But today we are talking about the relational DBMS. It's a type of DBMS, right? So let me bring this down here just so you know that it's not a definition. By the way, I'm going to give you access to this board. You'll find the link if you're watching on YouTube. You'll find a link on the description so that you can look at this later if you're interested. So relational database management system. Now this guy uses a standard known as SQL. Some call it SQL, something like this. SQL. So this is a standard for relational databases. What is relational database, by the way? Relational database is a database that uses rows and columns to they arrange data in rows and columns, and it shows relationship between one table and the other. When we say rows and columns, we are talking about a table, right? So we have vertical lines. Is this guy working or not? Oh, I'm using eraser, not pen. Okay, so we have vertical lines like this making columns, whatever it is, and then we'll have rows like this. Imagine if this was an exercise book. I want to take down some record. You're going to have something like this, right? And you're going to have to, let's say you want to take a record of this be now. You want to take timing, or let's say you want to take records of people who. Why is this thing not working? My mouse is misbehaving. Excuse me, sorry. Don't do this now. Okay, let's use this. Okay. I'll just use box to make the diagram. Give me a moment. Use boxes. Okay. Let's say you're dealing with somebody's name, we want the sex, and then we want the office and timing. Yeah, let's say we're taking some what will I call this, attendance or something. Let's say it's a sign-in register at work, right, where the worker comes in, and then we want to know the worker's name. Want to know the worker's sex, so also want to know the worker's office, and then we want to know the timing, the time the person signed in. Time in. Let me make this to fit into the right. It's for once, right? I need this one to go here a bit, so I can go here a bit. Okay, good. Good. Now this is what it will look like. I mean, if you are taking this record or taking this data with a paper, some exercise book, you're going to draw some lines, some long lines that will fill the exercise book, right? You are going to have plenty of spaces because you want to have enough spaces for people to fill in your data. But then here right now, when working with relational database, is usually not like that. It's something that looks like this, where even this second row is not available until you input some data. So you have only this line available. So once you put a data, you put number one, the first entry, that you have added a row. So once you now put another entry, you add another row. That's how it happens, right? So why the vertical side is the column, this side is the row. So you can have another table here, for example, that's showing more information about this same thing, or this same persons. Let's say you want to know if the person is you want to know about the let's say what now, let's what about the person's, wow, yeah, what the person studied, something like that. Let's say the person's CV, the worker's CV has saved in a different database, right? So when you put your feed, indicating what you want in this table, this is how SQL work, indicating what you want. Maybe you may use, let's say we may have an ID here. I'm adding one more column, ID. Sounds funny, right? Okay, I'll just modify this. ID. Okay, all good. All right, you're making progress. ID before name. Now we can make ID. This thing gets a bit complex, right? But don't worry yourself. So this ID now will be the primary key. Primary key in the sense that no two persons will have the same ID, right? So we can now use this ID on this second table to say, okay, we don't want to repeat names again. We don't want to repeat certain information again. We just come here and say here right now, we just identify the person with the ID that the person used to have. So let me modify what we've got here. Come this way, move this way, and let's modify it. So let's say workers ID, or let's say work ID, and then we now have let's say institution or qualification. Let me stop with your qualif. Okay, and let's say years of experience. So let's say experience, years of experience, years of experience. I think this let's take one more thing. Let's say field. Okay, I'm just trying to generate certain random qualities or attributes to something, just for the purpose of giving examples. So is this okay? I think it is. I'll just make it fit into this. I just want to do everything live so that you see how it works. I mean, I could have a table already prepared and come and use it for illustration, but I thought I should just code everything live so you appreciate better if you're a learner. Okay, fine. So now we have two tables, right? We have a table here, we have a table here. So my SQL is a kind of database, or relational database actually. Relational database is a kind of type of database that, what is happening to my mouse? This way with me. Okay, so it's a kind of database that shows relationship between this one and this one. And right now the relationship between this one and this one is that the ID here of the worker is what is used inside this other table to identify the worker. Alright, so once we see the same ID that is here, we know that, oh, we are referring to the same worker. So here we'll call it secondary key, and here we'll call it primary key. Secondary key because it is not originally generated here, it was generated from here. Primary key here because it is something used to identify, it's a unique something used to identify each entry uniquely. We have no two entries have the same thing. Okay, so here now, if we have more than one qualifications or more than one information here, it will have the same ID. Let's say this one has the ID of 001, any entry here with the ID of 1, we will know that you are referring to whatever name we have here, right? So we can have multiple, using secondary keys, so we can have multiple of it here. We can have multiple information, but it will be belonging to the same person from this table, or the same object from this table. All right, so that's it. Now SQL is the short, the acronym for standard query language. Sorry, structured query language rather. So structured query language. So just take it as a programming language. A programming language used to query databases. To structure the database, you query it, and one thing about it is that you must have the data predefined. You have your columns predefined. For example, if you have different entries, let's say we have up to let's say 5 entries, or let's say we had 2 entries, and this thing is such that if someone misses, if someone does not come early enough, the person is made to the person's salary is deducted. Okay, there are organizations like that where if you don't come on time, your salary is deducted. So and let's say in the same organization there is preference for pregnant women. Okay, they are be given some level of immunity, and then we now had number 2 here, and number 2 came late, and then let's say on the database you want to indicate that this one is pregnant. You cannot come here and suddenly add a row. Let me use this color. Okay, let me use this color. You cannot come here and suddenly add a new column stating that the person is pregnant here. No, it doesn't work in SQL like that. You have to add that column entirely. For everything that is there, you add that column entirely for them. So you can now start indicating that the other ones are not pregnant. Every other person is not pregnant except this one. So you can use Boolean value, true or false. It has data types, right? It has data types. Yeah, so that's how it is. There are different types of it. Okay, there are different types of it, but there's so much similarity, just a slight difference in syntax. So one of which is MySQL, what you're learning today. We also have PostgreSQL. We have Oracle, and several more of them. We have Microsoft SQL, and we also have the ones that are not SQL actually, but I don't want to talk about those right now. The MongoDB, the Redis, and all of those. I don't want to talk about them. They are not exactly the opposite of SQL, but they are just non-SQL. Okay, they are not SQL. They're not. They have different characters from SQL, and you can exactly group them all as one or as same type. Just the way you can group SQL as having very similar behavior, and you can group the NoSQL or the NoSQL that way, because they are very different as well. Now, just to okay, fine. Remember that these 2 tables are different, right? Okay, I think I've explained what I need to explain about my SQL. So MySQL is just an example of a relational database management system. All right, a software, a program, designed to function as database management system, using the SQL standard. That's what MySQL is. All right, now let's go into coding. I think I'm ready to code. First of all, how do you install MySQL? Let me get my terminal. I'll make this large enough. So first of all, you want to update your packages and dependencies. Just give me my sudo password, and this is my system, so it's normal. Okay, so it gets updated, and the next thing you do after updating is to make clear the screen. Go sudo apt install MySQL dash or hyphen server. So this is it. Now it didn't install now because I have it already installed. Okay, if you didn't have it installed, it will be just fast. It will take some time, not much time anyway. So you can see that 0 newly installed. I have 0 newly installed because it's here already. So to confirm that you have it installed, you do MySQL dash version. That's it. So I have about version 8.0.34 installed on my Ubuntu 1.22 what. Yeah. Okay. What next? Now let's talk about how to create a database in MySQL. Let me begin a new slide here. How to create a database. So how to create a database in MySQL. All right, you're making progress. It's simple. Let's talk about logging in first. So log into this database. I just need to do sudo MySQL, right? Sudo MySQL, and I'm in already. But you can actually create users. You can create users like just the way your system has users and they have different permissions. One is the admin and the other ones are other users. You can have, this is admin login now. I just did admin login. Okay, I have one user here. Is it one or two? Yeah, let me see. I have some users here, so I can log in. But if you're not logging in as a root user, let me exit and log in again. I'm using the word login just so that you can relate with it. Okay. But before you do this, you have to make sure that the server is running. Okay, so you do sudo. Let me show you that my server is running. Sudo service MySQL status. Right, so look at it, it's active and running. So this may not be your case. Okay, if I press Q, I've exited that report. For your own, if it's not running, just do sudo service, watch this, sudo service MySQL start, and then press enter. It will start. Okay, all right, so that's it. You can also restart as well if there's any issue. You can you can change this to restart by adding RE before the start. Okay, so that's it. Now let me show you how to log in as another user. So you do MySQL -u. After -u, you indicate the user. I have a user here registered as Paul-Dike, and then you do -p, very necessary, so that it will prompt you for the password of this particular user. So when I do enter, it says enter password. I hope I remember the password. Yes, I do. Okay, so as I'm entering the password, nothing is showing, but I'm actually entering password just in case this looks strange to you. The password is not showing, but it's actually there. I've entered it right now. The cursor will not move. It should just be blinking at this particular spot. Then I press enter. I am logged in now. I'm accessing the server now as Paul-Dike. Okay, so just know you can log in as a root user. You can have users created. I demonstrated in a video here. If you go to my YouTube channel, okay, here on my YouTube channel, if you're watching on YouTube, where is it? Is this playlist on how to build? Okay, this playlist how to build a complete web app from start to finish. Just view the playlist, and you see the part where we got to building database. We use MySQL for this app. We use MySQL as a database for this app, and so you can click and watch this. I demonstrated the use of primary keys, secondary keys, how to create users, what you need to do to create users, and how to grant permissions to users, because after creating users you have to grant permission to users, whether limited permissions or permissions. Okay, that's by the way. Okay, what else do you need to know? I think that's it. We can start creating a database right now. First of all, when you come inside here, you need to be aware as well that we write the keywords in uppercase later, right? I want to enter a command, show databases. MySQL is it's too serious. If you miss one letter, like in these databases, if you put database instead of databases, there will be error. You must end your comment with semicolon. Don't forget. semicolon. You know, especially when you're working on the command line, you can be using, there's some bench what now is it benchmark or what, that may not take all these things seriously, but that is the attitude of SQL in general, especially MySQL. Okay, now this one will show us databases that are here. What is the database? I've told you before, database is where your bank data, you've arranged data systematically. So you can have a database, right? A database, and that database now has different tables inside it. Tables, you know, another table here, and then as many as you want to have, and there'll be relationship between these tables, you know, relationship between these tables. Yeah, so if this was a school, let's say secondary school, second institution school, and so uh, this one may contain the name of the student and some basic information about the student. This one may contain some information about the parents of the student, so you relate it with this. This one may contain some information about the performance of the student in school, you know, how sporty the student is, how attentive the student is, things like that. You know, things that has to do with the, is it cognitive, right? Or affective domain. Yeah, I think so. And you can put something that has to do with the psychomotor domain here. You can put things that have to do with the child's score in school, you know, was it, so things like this. So all at the end of the day, the entire tables in this place are related. They link, they relate to one another, you know, right? So that's it. So we are going to create a database right now, and this is how you create it, right? By the way, if you enter this in a lowercase, it will still work. This guy is not case sensitive. All right. So the reason why we enter it in uppercase is just to differentiate between those MySQL keywords, so that you don't mistake them. You know that, okay, this one is a keyword in MySQL. This one is a command. You know, it's a command. And remember, MySQL has different data types. Let me show you some of them. If you're an earlier student, by the time you're through watching this, I'm telling you, you will not be confused about the task, the project anymore. Okay, so let's say data types in MySQL. Remember, I told you that MySQL is a programming language. It's a programming language. Just take it as a programming language meant for data. This is so we have int. Of course, in MySQL, you want to make that, write that in uppercase. We have var we have car. What else? We have boolean value. Boolean. I hope I spelled it well. Oh, doesn't look like I spelled it well. Is it? It should be an A here, right? You can correct me. Int var. There are some more. All right, I'm not going to mention them all. Let me just add date time. Yes, I might use it. I would like to code how a database that looks like this. Yeah, listeners. Let's see how much time we have. I don't intend spending much time in this live section. Okay, let's just. All right. So int is integers, right? Numbers. Var. We'll see what that is. I will explain it as we make progress. The way I understand it. Okay, so now we've seen databases. Now if you just install MySQL, you're not going to see all this plenty of databases, right? You're going to see the ones that come with it. I created this one, I created this one, I created this one, and I think that's it. So you're going to, I created this one as well. You're going to see this one by default. You're going to see this one by default, I believe. You're going to see this one as well, information schema by default, and you're going to see MySQL by default. All right, how do you create a database? Let's go. Just go create databases. Sorry, database, and then you give it a name. So let me give it the name of what I'm going to call this. I will call this should I call it registry? Sign in. I'll call it sign in, worker sign in. Okay, so sign in. Okay, so if I do this, it says okay, that's no problem, right? So if I enter the command again, show databases, it shows me that I now have sign in a new database called sign in. Now I need to log in. I need to log into the database. Like I'm inside SQL now. I need to be able to access the database. So I use the command called use, right? Use sign in. So I do this. It says, now you see the essence of putting this in uppercase. Now it's obvious that this is a command I gave, and this is not a command. This is something else. Okay, so it says database changed. Now I am inside another database. If I ask it to show me the tables that are in this database right now, you can see that there are no data, there are no tables. It says empty set, right? This, I mean, database is the reason is the reason you can post on Facebook and your post is there. You can send messages, and messages are always there. They are saved in some databases somewhere, right? I mean, you can send out a form and someone can fill it, and you get the information for the person. If information goes into a database, you're applying for a job, your information goes into some database. All right, so it's very important, very useful, very useful. Okay, that is it about creating database, and we'll create tables in a short while. We'll create tables. I'm hoping to create this one that is here. Okay, but let's talk about something more in MySQL. DDL and DML. Now DDL stands for database, no, I think data definition language, and DML stands for data manipulation language. Data manipulation language. So if you're watching live, please invite others to join, okay? That would like to learn, invite them, and do well to just click on like the video, please. Like, you can share the link as class to join. If you're watching later on YouTube, you can do the same thing as well. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do well to subscribe. Thank you so much. All right, what are database data definition languages? We are talking about those languages, those keyword in MySQL that has to define, that has to talk about the structure of the data. It structures the data, it predefines what is needed, the attributes, the qualities needed, the columns, okay, how you should look like, how the data should be represented on the table. So those languages, those languages used are grouped, and they are called data definition language. Meanwhile, this other one, as the name literally implies, manipulation, it's used to alter something in the data, add something into the data, check what is inside the data, things like that. So when you're manipulating the data, those keywords that are used to do so are called data manipulation languages. An example of DDL, let me use it like this, e.g. the first line for DDL, we will have the one we just use now, create. Okay, yeah, so you're creating the thing. That means you're bringing the thing into being. Okay, so you're defining what it looks like. We also have alter. We also have drop is like delete, but drop is like you're taking it totally off. You don't want it there again. You're wiping it off. That means, so we also have rename. So you can rename a column. You're not tampering with data actually, but you're renaming the column. You're saying that, okay, this column should have a different name. All right, remember I demonstrated what column and rows are some minutes earlier, and then we can just from one of them. Let me just add one more. Truncate is the one that this one will wipe off all the data that is on the table without affecting the structure of the table. The table will still be there, but it wipe off the data that is there. So example of DML. Let me make this one clearer. Examples of DDL. Okay, so example of DML. So the one we use to manipulate data right now. For example, we can check what we can actually insert. Insert is a keyword. So we'll say insert into data, we can update data. So we can insert into the database, rather we can update the database with some data. So right now we are manipulating data. Okay, yeah, we can do several things as well. We can try to see what is inside there, what is inside that. So this things gets more complex, but just don't bother yourself, just take it bit by bit. Okay, bit by bit, right? We also have clauses like um, um, we have where. Okay, we have order by. Okay, we have on I think we have join, and several of them. Okay, now let's walk how to create a table in MySQL. How to create a table. Now we have a database, right? By the way, these default databases that are here, I could, for example, let's see what is inside here. You see that there are several tables inside here already. Let's use MySQL. Use MySQL, because that's the name of the database, right? The default database that comes when you install MySQL. Okay, so written table. Look at that. It says database changed. Okay, now if I say show tables, I use that command a while ago. You can see that we have several tables here already. We have several tables. We have DB, we have component, we have user, things like that. Let's see what is inside the user table. So describe user. So it tells us that these informations are. I want to make this change. Okay, it's fine. So these are the informations on the user table. It tells us that there's host, it's of type car, it's user, it's of type car 32. They are both are primary keys and things like that. This is looking complex, right? Let's just let's go back to our database. So use what was that database again? I don't remember the name. Can someone remind me if you're live? Post. I did I forget? Okay. Sign in, yeah, use sign in. I'm back to sign in, and like there are no tables here, so I want to create a table right now. I want to create a table that looks like the one I have on I want to create this kind of table that I had here. So we have an ID, we have name, we have sex, we have office, we have timing. All right, so let's go. So we want to create table. So we'll say create table. So we'll now write the name of the table. So what will be the name of this table now? Let me call it time in. Let me call it time in. Right? I can also call it sign in table. Let me just call it time in, because one of the workers time in. Okay. So but when you can just you have to define the columns right now. So the first column is ID, right? ID. And ID is of type int, so it's write integer, very important. And then next column is what? The name. So the name will be of type varchar. I understand varchar to be, you're saying that it's characters. Like by writing this, I'm saying that okay, is character. We're expecting characters, but it could be any. It must not be more than 50. You can enter a string, rather, but it must not be more than 50. So anything from 1 to 50 will work. Meanwhile, let me use car for the other one, sex. So we'll have sex. Usually where them is lowercase. If it's more than one word, you put underscore in between them. Okay, right? That's dash. So sex. I want sex to be of type car, and I will say 1. Type car means give me exactly what I have here. Give me exactly this figure. So if I had, I stand to be corrected, please. If you're live with me, or if you're watching later, you can correct me. So if I put 12 here, I'm saying you must give me a string that has 12 characters. No more, no less. Whereas I'm saying you can give me anything from 1 to 50. Okay, so I'm using 1 because I want to use letters M and F, male, female. Okay, office. Let's say office will be of type varchar. So let's keep it as 50 as well, 50 maximum. And then Last thing there is timing would have been of type let's say date time, but I don't want, let's make it simple. Okay, so let's use varchar uh, varchar timing, let's say, let me just put that 20 just in case you want to add date and all those. I think we are done with, I think we are good to go. So now this is the last thing, right? So I now close the bracket and add semicolon. If there's no error in the syntax, it should work. All right, it worked. So I now have a table. So if I enter that command again, show tables, it shows me that I have one table inside database. It says tables in sign in. That means table in the database named sign in. I have one named timing. All right, I can now go ahead and describe the table. So describe the table, show me what does the table look like, what are the components, what makes up this table, what's the structure like. So describe timing. My autocomplete is not working. I don't know why. So I'm typing everything in. So it shows me that it has a field for ID, which is of type int, a field for name, sex, office, timing, and it's telling us these fields can be null. What does it mean by this field can be null? I think I will demonstrate that shortly. These are some information. So now let's try to do some data manipulation. How to insert, okay? How to insert into the table. Now to insert into this table, I use the keyword. Let me clear the screen, show that table, and insert into it. So I'll just say insert into, I'll put the name of the table, insert into timing. You can be coding alongside me if you're watching live. If you're watching later on YouTube, you can feel free to be pausing the videos and be practicing, because that's how you learn. It's not by listening and paying attention and saying, I'm getting it, I understand now. If you learn without practicing, without doing, when it's time for you to do it, you just discover that you didn't actually understand as much as you thought you did. Okay, so insert into timing, right? When you give this command, you have to put the field you want to insert into. This time you don't need to indicate the data type. So insert ID, insert name, insert sex, insert office, insert timing. All right, and then next thing that follows is that you state the values to be inserted into those places, and you put the values in the order in which they appear here. I can choose to scatter this order. I can choose to put name first in this place and put office second and put ID as a third thing and put, but it doesn't matter how I put it here. What matters is that what follows here, the values must match what I put here. All right, it will still enter into the table very well and arrange itself the way it should be on the table. Okay, so values, I want to give the ID of 1. This person has the ID of 1, and the person's name is whose name will I use now? Who's on this live call? Let's use Harrison. Okay, so Harrison, let's say Harrison, who now? Harrison Godwin. I'm giving you a new surname, Harrison. Okay, next is sex, right? Sex we say is 1, so Harrison is a male. Let's put M there, and comma. Next is the office. Let's say Harrison is the secretary. I hope it's well spelled. Notice that I'm putting the strings within single quotes, right? You can use double quotes, it's still fine, right? Just the way string works in other programming languages that you know, except for low-level programming languages like C. Okay, timing. Timing is the time you came in. So let's say you signed in at 1900 hours. So 19 hours. All right. We are good. If there's no error in the syntax, it should work. So let's go. Oh, it worked. Now, how do we see what is there? I'm about to use another keyword, another data manipulation language. So select. This guy means select everything. Right? Select everything from timing, from the table named timing. So it's showing us now that we have this is all we have in that timing. So you can choose to not select everything. You can choose to select only name. Let's see what name is there. Select name. It will give you the name that is there, right? Let's add some more data, right? I like to insert multiple data here. It's actually possible to insert multiple values here. So let's have this. Oh, yes. I just inserted something again. Okay. Let's see what is here. We'll have them as two now. You can update. Let me correct this, right? You can update it. This is an opportunity to use updates. So update table. The table is timing. I like mistakes in live sections like this. They make us learn. So I update the table now. Set ID to be equal to 2. Let's take it bit by bit, okay? One by one. Set the ID to be equal to 2. That's a problem. It's a problem right now. We can't actually, if I do this, it will update everything. To update everything. So what is the best way to update this guy? What is the best way? Okay, I think I'm gonna leave that. Hey, delete. If I update this ID to be equal to 2, it will update the two IDs to be equal to 2. Let's try. Set ID equal to. I would have said where. I would have added the where clause, but I don't know what to use now. I don't understand what that means. Don't worry, we'll get to that place. What I mean is that if I set this ID to be equal to 2, and something is wrong with my syntax. Is update. Okay, so I didn't need to add table to that, right? Let's select everything again from there. You can see the both IDs now equal to 2. Let me give you a better way to let me give you an instance where the where clause is used. Let's have an ID of 3 and change the name to David Jones. Okay, David Jones, and this one is the receptionist. Also email. Let's see. Now let's show what is there now. We now have 3. So it is now possible to update this one. This is where the where clause comes. Let's say we want to change the name. So update table, set name to be equal to, put this in a string, equal to, let's say, Sarah Jakes. But if I do this as well, it will update all the names to be Sarah Jakes, not the way it updated all the IDs to be 2. So that mistake was an opportunity for us to learn. So, but now I want to be specific. Do this where ID is equal to 3. Don't do it elsewhere. All right. So this is where the where clause comes in. So let's see. This name should change to what we want it to change to. So it worked. Let's now check what is here again. Select everything from. You can see the name has changed to Sarah Jakes. Right now, because we've set. Remember earlier when we tried to describe the table so that these guys could be null. What that means is that a user can supply information, like I can say insert into. Let's use that command again and modify it. Insert into. I can come here and take off ID and say don't insert. Okay, let me leave ID. Insert name. I can take off anything and nothing will go wrong. I can say remove office now. I've removed office, and because I've removed office, the values have to match, right? So I will take off the office value here as well. And let's say, Sarah Jakes is supposed to be a female, right? I guess you can update this. You can update that right by now. So you can try to update it. So let's put a new name. let's still add David Jones as a male, and this time you have an ID of 4. Let's say his timing was a bit late, so 1910. Okay, at about 59 seconds. All right, so it worked. Let's see again now. You can see that the office is null. That's because we allowed it. But you can put those constraints and say, oh no, somebody must fill something there. Whoever is entering, whatever role is being entered must not have the office as null, must not have the office empty. Null means it's empty, there's nothing there, there's no value there. Okay, all right, so we can correct that. Let's update Sarah. Let's update. So update timing. Set the sex to be equal to what now? F. Where remember that everything will work if I don't put it at uppercase. I'm just doing it because it's important, right? You can see how important it is. It's differentiating the keywords from other things. All right, the commands, the clauses, the main languages, data definition and data manipulation languages. So where ID, you can use anything. It must not be ID. I can say where office equals receptionist. Okay, and let's see whether that works. Let's check again. So it has changed now from M to F, female. Okay, you're making progress. What else do I need to do? I can actually modify these things. Do you know that this ID can actually be auto-generated? It can be automatically generated where I don't need to enter it by myself, you know. And then I can use functions to split this guy into first name and second name. But let's take it bit by bit. Let's take it bit by bit. Yeah, I think we need to talk about subqueries and functions. I think this is the right time to talk about it. So you can modify you can modify things here. Like there's something called enum. It's a data type called enum, right? It's a data type called boolean. We've not used it. Yeah, so I can modify and say, okay, I don't want this sex to be I want it to be enum. Enum is you use it to say, okay, there must be only two kind of, or you it's like select. It's like select in HTML, where you say, okay, for male there must be only two, for sex there must be only two options, either M or F, right? That becomes enum. You want to ask, are you a boy or a girl? You can say there must be two options. I mean, I don't know how best do I explain this. It's like you're saying select among these options. If it's not these options, it's invalid. Okay. How do we? I want to demonstrate using queries. Okay, I want to demonstrate using queries. Using subqueries rather. It's in subqueries. What are subqueries, by the way? If you understand what if-else statements are, then you should understand what subqueries. You should understand what subqueries are. It's like having a nested if. Okay, it's like having a nested query where you have let's say I don't know what language you know, but let me use Python for example. They are similar, right? Or let me just do a studio coding. So if let's say we have a for loop here. Yeah, for a for loop here. We are looping through. Okay, I'm tempted to use Python syntax. Let's say for number in numbers, right? Let me act like I'm writing a program. So numbers. Okay, let's say for number in range. I'm sorry if this looks strange. Sorry. Range, let's say 1 and 11. Usually in Python you go 4 spaces or a tab. Yeah, and so I put a nested check here. If number Okay, modulo 2 is 0. And I go here 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Then print number. This is a repeater program. If you do Python, you can put it, you can type it in into a file named in your interactive mode, or into a file that has a DPY extension to know what it does. Right, so this will check for the numbers. If you check from 1 to 10 and you check modulo, means if I divide that number by 2, will it be equal to 0? So 1 modulo 2 will not be equal to 0. Okay, it will be equal to 0. Am I correct? 1 modulo 2, yeah, 0 0.5 something. What am I saying? The remainder will be equal to 1. So 1 modulo 2 will be equal to 1, because 1 divided by 2 will be 0, and the remainder will be 1. 2 modulo 2 will be equal to 0, because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and the remainder is 0. So things like that, you now print. So this guy now, liking this guy into a nested query, a subquery, and this one to the query. Alright, let's demonstrate that, and then demonstrate the use of function. I think I want to create another table to demonstrate that. Let's use a student table that has scores. Let's see, let me create a new table here. And so I'll say create table, I'll call it scores. Okay, I want you to have a column ID. Now I can have this on different lines, it must not be on one line. So ID, I want the ID to be integer. This time I want it to generate automatically by itself, so I will use the keyword auto underscore increment, and then I will state that it's the primary key. That means no two users can have the same. The other way, I like this mistake. The other way, we have two users having the same ID. So this, as far as the database is concerned, these are two users. They are not referring to the same person, but they have the same ID. You couldn't do this now on this table that I'm creating. No, you couldn't do that, because I've stated that it's the primary key. Then I add comma here. I want the name of the student. So let's say first name of the student. This will be of the type var_char. It should not be more than 50. This is okay, but I want to add a constraint, not null. That means there must be something. It must not be empty, not null. I think I want to have the same thing for last name, and since all these are the same, I want to copy this. Okay, and paste it here. All right, making progress. And what else I want to have? I want to have the person score for biology, and I want it to be of type integer, because it's scores we're talking about here, and then it should be not null. It cannot be null. There must be something there. In fact, I want to give it a default value. Default. If the person enters nothing, then help the person and enter 0 as a score. Alright, so it's getting complex now, right? Don't worry. So geography integer as well. It should be not null. Let me copy this. I think I should copy all of this. Okay, let's begin from here. Let me just copy this and paste it here. Now let me copy the whole thing, because I will need it again and again. So copy it. Let's make progress. Okay, what else do I want? Let's take mathematics. Call it maths and paste this here. All right. Let's take one more. What would that be? Let's say economics, but let's leave it as econs. Okay, I think we are good to go. Now I'm going to close the bracket. If there's no error in the syntax, it should work, and then I'll end it with a semicolon. Let's go. Okay, so that worked. If I enter the command show tables again, it showed me that I have two tables right now. I have scores and I have timing. Now these two tables do not relate with one another. Like I said, see this video that I did here, database schema. You find it on my channel on the playlists how to build a complete web app from start to finish, go straight to the one that has to do with how to database, right? And you will see how I used primary keys and secondary keys. For time's sake, time is short. I need to end this section as soon as possible. Okay, so that's why I'm not relating the two tables. I don't have enough time to do that. I have plenty of time to do that. So now, if I describe the table, scores, you can see it's telling us that we have a primary key here. It cannot be null, so not no. It cannot be null. Although you have a default value of null, that means there's no default value, but it cannot be null. It will throw up an error. It should not work, you know. And this one has default value of 0. That means if you try to make it null, it will put 0 there. All right. So let's try to enter the first something to this table now. So let's say insert into scores, insert first name. Now I can comfortably skip the ID because it is auto generated, it's automatically generated. So first name, last name, and then biologist. Want to impute or insert biology score, and want to impute mass score. So I've skipped the rest. I've skipped geography, I've skipped economics. Let's see what happens. Now values, inside the following values. As I go, inside the first name to be I'm going to use Linda, and insert the last name to be Drake. Okay, Linda Drake scored 50, let's say score 100 in biology and scored 67 in maths. Okay, let's enter that. Now if we try to select everything from scores, right? Scores, you can see that she has 0 score in geography and 0 score in economics because you've stated that the default value should be 0. It's working, right? I hope it's making sense. I hope you're learning. Yeah, put some comment. Let me see that it's working. Let me see how far are you flowing so far. Put some comments. Just show me that I'm with you. Okay, we're making progress. Now let's add some more records, right? Let's add some more records. Let's have let me change this. Let me add a new excuse me. Okay, wow. Pardon me for that, please. That's some little distraction. Okay, just overlook that. That's one of the things that happen in live sections. So let's add another name. Let's put who now? James Bond. James Bond. And this time I want to add more. I don't want to just give only biology. Now, mind you, I could choose not to follow the order like I said before. So let me have maths here, and followed by, you can see it's biology, the geography before maths. But now I'm putting geography. Come on, what's happening? Sorry about that. Let me concentrate. Where's this really came from? Okay. Yeah, mine now. So geography. Yeah, geography. In fact, I can have geography as a last and put maths here. Sorry, economics. Econs. Yeah. So it doesn't matter how the order in which I place it here, but what matters is that the score, the corresponding value, must follow the order. So let me say this person scored 80 in biology and 69 in what now? In maths, right? And then in economics the person scored 70, and then in geography the person scored 40. Let's go. Now if I check the table, you see that it followed that. You can see that the 80 that I gave to biology is what is under biology, and the 40, which is the last one here, is for geography. But here it's on the second because geography is the second, is the next subject, right? Next column after biology. It locates the appropriate what is it called now, column for it. But like right now, let's arrange it very well. So let's say biology first, right? Biology is followed by what? Geography. So let's have geography here. I want to add some more entries. Geography is followed by maths and then econs. So let's take geography off from here. Let's try to add multiple values. So add this value, comma, another value. Okay, I don't want the same name, so let's have there are other controls you can add, like unique, just like that. Let's have Harrison again. Harrison is now a secondary school student. Harrison, let's say Harrison Bond. Harrison Bond. So Harrison Bond is the brother of James Bond. It's example 85 here. 79 here. I don't need to think about this. I'm generating some random values. 75 here, 60 here, comma. Let's have another person. I'm putting multiple values right now. Let's have another person. Who will this be? What will her name be? Sandra. Sandra. Sandra who? Sandra. Great. So 85 here, 92 here, 71 here, and 80 here. All right, let's go. So I just inserted two values at the same time. So you can use multiple values. I can put, even if I had put 10 values there, they would all be inserted. So let's check. We now have four students. So now let's try using subqueries. Okay, first before I use subquery and functions, let me show you that I can choose to do something like this. Select select everything. let's just play with queries. Select everything from this table. Let's use that command again, but here I'll add a constraint. Select it where last name equals Bond. I want to see how many children of Bond, how many siblings with name Bond, how many siblings. Yeah, I decide here. So it tells me that number 2 and number 3. It keeps me this record. And so now let's say select. Let's play. Select everything. No, select let's say biology plus geography plus maths plus econs, right? Select it as, and what should be as total from scores. I hope this is not too complex. I'm saying add these guys and name it total. I could choose not to put it as total, it will still work. If I take off this as total. So this is like that point where I used to put asterisk. I'm not more putting asterisk. I'm saying this is what I want you to select. I mean, I want to manipulate it. I want you to add it and give me the values. So it's giving me the values. See what you call it. So if I had added that as total, see what happens. So it names the column total, right? So I can still come here and say and add select asterisk. That means select everything, select star, comma. After selecting everything, do this for me. So you want to do this, you can see it now have a new column here, but this column is not actually there, right? If I select the table again, if I do this again, you see that the column is not saved there. So how do we get it saved? So let me now use a subquery. Let me now use subquery method to make it saved here. So I'm saying What pests? Let's create another table. Yes, let's create another table. Yeah. It's like I'm going to use secondary key this time. I just might use the secondary key this time. Let's call this column total. Okay, there's no point using secondary keys. Let me just call the table create table final score be, or what do I call it now? Final I'm not sure what to call it. I just want to show use of subqueries. I'm thinking how best to use subqueries now. Let me call it master sheet. I'm not sure. Total and average. Total. Let's call it total. Yeah, total. Let's call it average score. Sorry. Average score. So what I want average score to have is the ID, and of course I want it to auto increment. Onto increment, and I want it as a primary key. That means we are running out of time. I want it as a primary key, and I want what else? I want the total score of the user, and I want the average average score as well. So total score should be, oh, I did not indicate data type. That would have thrown up some error. So this is integer, and total should be integer as well. Average should as well be integer. I think this will give me an avenue to demonstrate how what now? How subqueries work. Okay, I think we're good. Alright, so it worked. Show tables. How many tables have we now? Alright, so you can see that we have 3 tables right now. And by the way, if I try to create this table again, there'll be a problem because the table already exists, right? And I just thought I should show you that. So a way to not have this problem is to add the clause if not exists. If not exists, that means if it does not exist, create it. If it exists, create it. Don't create. If not exists. So if I do this now, it says you have an error in your MySQL. Check the manual that corresponds to your, okay, it's something not right. If not exists, I think that's the way it is done. Create table if not exists. Am I putting it the wrong way? Let's see. Maybe I should put the name of the table before putting if not exists. Average score. Okay, I think is it. Oh, I'm the one making a mistake. I'm not putting exists. I'm putting exists. I think this is cool. Now there's no problem again. You can see there's no error again. It didn't create the table, but there's no error because you can see it says query okay, 0 rows affected. That means nothing was done. One warning. What could that warning be? Something like so. I can do it as many times. There is no problem again. Right. And if I show the tables, it did not create any new table. It's the same table that has been there. Now let's try to insert. By the way, look at the table. Let's describe that table. Describe average score. So you see what it looks like. Now let's add to it. I want to add, let's say, insert into average score. Okay, insert into average score. So what do you want to insert into average score? I don't want to start calculating the average score. Let me take this off first and show you the other table once more from where I'm getting this data. Let's get everything from scores. Yeah, so I don't want to I don't want to hard code it. I want to generate it from this other table. So let me continue here. Insert into average score. That means insert into this other table, right? Insert into the total. Let's see total. Let me usually just to make it less complex. Let's use only one. Insert into this. The values you're going to insert. I want you to go and get it. Select biology plus geography plus mass plus econs. All right. So select this from where now? From scores. So that's it. Let's see where there's any syntax error here. I'm saying go and add this together. Make this selection and then come and add it. Come and put it on the total. Of this other table. So this is a nested query that will bring this result and give this result to this other parent query. Okay, I think this will throw up an error. Yeah, let's try. Oh, it worked. Wow, I was expecting some form of error. Now let's now see. Let's now select everything from average score. You can see that now we don't have total. We don't have total scores. The one for number one belonging to this guy. You can see 100 plus 67 is 167. So it's correct, right? 85 plus 92 plus 71 plus 80 is actually 328. It's correct, right? So that's subqueries for you. Let me use subquery as well to let me just use subquery to fill in the average. So let's do this. Select this over all of these things over 4, because that's how to get the average, right? Because there are 4 subjects, divide the total over 4, and I want you to insert it in the average AVG parts. Shall we? Let's go. All right, let's look at it again. You can see. Oh, I should have used update. I should have used update, not insert. Okay, so because I did not use update, that's why it's all right. That's why it now puts a fresh column. Okay, but at least you know how subquery works. So how does function work? What function will I use here now? I think that would be last thing I'll do. Then I'll call it a day. You can see I don't have enough time to take questions live, so you can just put it. I'll post your questions and I will answer you. Select this from scores. Okay, so I can actually add the total here, right? But I didn't want to, because I wanted to use subqueries. But let's add email and let's generate the email automatically. Okay, let's add email. Bam 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 bam. Add, let's say alter table. Let's use the alter keyword for the first time. Alter table scores. Add column. I hope the syntax is correct. Add column email, and the email should be of type varchar. It can be as long as 225. It should not be empty. No, let me not put down. Let me not cause problem. It should be unique. That means no two users can have the same email. The reason why, if I put not null now, it will be already null, so that will be a problem. Since these ones don't have email already. So unique. I think this is okay. If the syntax is correct, it should work. All right, so we have it there now. If you check, we have emails as null, but right now we want to update the email, right? Want to update email. Okay, so let's do this. Update scores, right? Set email to be equal to, now watch this, I want to use a function called concatenate. So I want it to generate email automatically, and I want it to be the first name. Yeah, there's something called lower. How does it work now? Let's see, lower. I want to take it to lowercase. Let's just be lowercase. So lowercase concatenate the lowercase of, is it just like this? I'm not sure how it is used, but we'll find out. Concatenate the lowercase of the first name. It's getting complex, right? Okay, let's take it bit by bit. Let's take it by bit to avoid confusion. Okay, concat is a function, right? So I want to concatenate the first name, comma, and the last name, and I want to add at what I'm using, at school.com, at, let's see, SQL class.com, SQL, let's say at SQL.com. Okay, that's fine, at SQL.com. All right, so I'm saying concatenate the string, get the first name, add it to the last name, and add at this, and make it the email. So this should run for all, because I did not put any constraint like where, so it should run for all of them. If this is correct, should work like me. Let's go. Oh, it worked. This is us using functions. Okay, now you can see there's Linda Drake, right? There is you can see. So the one I wanted to add was to make it appear in lowercase, right? How to make it appear in lowercase, so I will not have this uppercase L and uppercase D here, right? So that is it. It is not part of our table. Like if I select this table, it's there. It's not temporary. It's temporary. It's there. I can use, there are several functions you can use. I mean, this thing gets complex, but I think this is enough for a beginner. But let's talk about one more thing before I end this section, is how to write script, MySQL scripts. So show tables one more time. What I'm going to add a new record into this stuff. I'm going to add a new record, and by the way, this place where I was doing timing, I could make time auto generate as well. Let's say, okay, let's create a new table with a script. Let's create a new table, and okay, I know what. Let's do this. Let's bam 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 bam. I would have opened two terminals, but it used to look like magic to certain beginners. Let's use the same terminal. I will add a record to this place using a script, MySQL script. I add a record to this place. So remind me, we are using first name, last name. I hope I remember. Okay, I won't clear the screen, so I'll remember. So I'm exiting the server, MySQL server. I'm out now. I'm now on my own terminal. All right. I like to move into a place where peer learning. Is it? What is in peer learning? I like to move into a less crowded portion. Another file, new file. Now, let's move into my PLD and peer learning with Topman. This is fine. Okay, let me make a directory here. MySQL. I will push this to Git. This is a GitHub repository. You can. I'll add the link to the YouTube video description, just in case you're watching live. You can check it later on YouTube. Or it might even be available right now that you're watching. Okay, make directory MySQL. Okay, fine. Let's see into that directory. All right, now let's write a script that will add to that stuff. So vi let me see, first name, last name, biology, geography, maths, this, and okay, you can leave email as none, null. So let's say add student, add student. To make it a MySQL script, just say sql.sql. Once I enter there and I write a command here and say insert into scores, right? Insert the first name, insert last name, insert biology score, insert math score. Let's just use this two for time's sake, okay? Insert the values, so others can be 0, the default value. Insert mark as the first name. Let's have mark who now, mark Jakes. All right, insert biology score as 70, insert the mathematics score as 45, and I'll add semicolon. All right, so I've just writing a script. A MySQL script is as simple as writing a command that will run on MySQL. So long as it has no syntax errors, it should run well. So if I come here now to run this script, you know, the way I would have logged in, with my SQL, remember, -u, then the user, okay, and then -p for password, okay. But if you're not logging in like this, you can do the other one. All right, you can do sudo MySQL. Okay, you can do it. It's fine. It will still work. So, but before doing it, you now put this file here. Cat, add this thing. You know what cat does, right? I believe you know what cat does. Let me not assume you know what cat does. Let me take this off. Let me cut this off and press enter. So cat shows us the content of the file. So we are saying cat, we are piping it. Put this pipe signal. Pipe signal looks like this thread vertical. I mean, you should know this. If you're learning MySQL, you should know this by now, what pipe is. All right, so I'm pasting this now. So I'm piping it into sudo MySQL. So I'm saying go and run this command inside there. So if I press enter, it asks me for my password. If you're using sandbox, it will not ask you a password. All right, so no database selected. Okay. So the script is incomplete. I need to go and select the database. All right, let's go back. How do I select the database? You know how we do it now. Say use what's the database? What's that database again? I think it was sign in. Yes, sign in. All right, use sign in and do this to it. So in fact, I can even ask you to print it out to return something to me, but now it's not returning anything. Okay, so so let's run it again. It has happened. Nothing showed because I did not ask you to return anything. Nothing showed, but it has happened. How do we know that it has happened? Now let's try to move into MySQL to go and check MySQL. Right, so MySQL, here we are. Use sign in. This is like logging into the database, remember. All right, now let's show the tables once more. Show tables. What to see, we added that into the scores table. So select everything that is present in the table named scores. All right, did you see that Mark Jigs is now here? We just added it from the command line. You see, Mark Jigs is now here. We didn't add email, of course. If we use that function we used before, can I find it? The generated email. It will generate for it for this one as well. Update table, modify. Okay, it's lost. I would have used it again, and it will generate email for this one automatically. All right. Okay, so it means I can go here. I can actually view this table using that same script. I can actually view the table using that same script. How? Let me exit. Let me write another script that says vi view scores. View scores. What I want you to do is, first of all, to select database. So use sign in. What do I want you to do? I want you to select everything from scores table. All right, so let's save this. Come out. Now if I go cat view this and pipe it into sudo MySQL, what happens? It will now, I don't need to log in again to MySQL. I don't need to log into the server again. I don't need to enter the server or access the server. It will show it here on my terminal, although it will not look as beautifully arranged as this one. But let's go. You see, showing me the same information, the ID here, the first name here. You can see how it's looking almost scattered, because this is last name and this is where the last names are. You see, you know. And this course here under last name of homology, so looking scattered somehow. That's it. These other scores are for geography, these other ones are for maths, these other ones are for econs, and the emails are here. So you can see it's showing. So that's it. Once you have these skills, once you know that, okay, MySQL is a structured query language used to manage database, relational database, and then you know that there are keywords you can do different things. Just be aware that you can, don't be bothered about syntax. Me that is remembering this syntax is because I've worked with it. I've done some work with it. That's why I'm able to remember the syntaxes. And there are several more of them, some complex more. I can't go and start suffering myself memorizing them. No, I didn't have to memorize these ones. It's while I was working with them, they started entering into me, right? While I was working with them, and I don't know them all. There are several of them I don't know. But even things like join, and I've not used. There are several of them I can't use in this video right now. They will get you confused, right? They will get you confused. Modifying the data. You can change. You can say, okay, I don't want this to be integer again. I want it to be string. You can do it. You can go to the first table that I created where I had time in. You have to manually enter the time and set it that, okay, automatically generate the date and time when someone logs in. Just the way this one is automatically generated, it will generate it. There are several things you can do. Even the second table, there's a lot you can do. There's a lot, but just practice around these ones. Practice around this one. You discover that what you were asked to do in that project were all simple, quite simple. That is, if you're an LAX student right now watching this. So at this point, I want to say thank you very much. Thank you very much for being part of this. If you're watching live, I want to invite you to this